Welcome. I am Mr. Murphy, and in this particular video we're going to be looking at power standard number 18. Power standard number 18 is a longer power standard like we saw in a previous one where we broke it up into multiple steps, and that's what we're doing here. Now you might have already watched a previous video for power standard 18 looking at parts A and B. This video we're going to be looking at the same two parts. We're just going to be approaching it from using a slightly different method. Maybe the previous method of completing the square, maybe you were confused by it, or maybe you just thought it was a little longer and maybe looking for a quicker way to do it. Well, that's what this method is going to be doing. Again, our ultimate goal is to figure out what the vertex of the parabola is. And just as review, like we did in the previous video, the standard form of an equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's what we're going to be given an equation. We're going to be given an equation in that form. Our goal is to figure out what the vertex is. Now in the previous video we completed the square so we could get the equation in vertex form. Well, in this particular method we don't have to get it in vertex form. We can get directly to the vertex by using this little shortcut. The shortcut is to find out what h is, which if you recognize is the first part of your vertex. We're going to take the opposite of b divided by 2a. So in this particular method, it's not going to be as long-winded. You just have to make sure that you know this little shortcut. The opposite of b divided by 2a will give us the h value, or the x portion of your vertex. So let's use that to figure out how to find the complete vertex of this example over here. You might recognize this example as the same one that was in the previous video, but I intentionally left these examples to be the same so that you can see just how quick and how much easier this method is. Okay, so like we said, we're going to use this shortcut, the opposite of b divided by 2a. Remember, it's in vertex forms. Remember, this is your b here. So the opposite of, this is a positive 8, so the opposite of that, the opposite of 8 is going to be a negative 8. A in this case is 1. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. So we just found that for our vertex, the h value is negative 4. To find the k value of your vertex, remember k is the same as the y value of your vertex. So if I already know the x value of my vertex, I'm just going to put negative 4 into my original equation and solve that to figure out what my y value, or my k, would be of my vertex. So negative 4, when you square that, becomes a positive 16. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. And we have this plus 10. So 16 plus negative 32 is negative 16. And negative 16 plus 10 gives us negative 6. And just like that, we found the vertex. Now if they ask you to find out what the equation was in vertex form, well then we would just simply write it out as y minus the y value, which is negative 6, so it becomes y plus 6, equals your a. Your a in this case is 1, so it's just going to be 1x squared, or I'm sorry, not 1x squared, but 1 in front of the parentheses, or you can just leave it blank. And then it's going to be x minus the x value, x minus negative 4 becomes x plus 4 quantity squared. So if they asked you to find out what the equation would be in vertex form, this would be your answer. Otherwise, if they just asked you for the vertex, your answer would be the coordinate negative 4, negative 6. Then the line of symmetry would be the equation x equals negative 4. See how easy that is? Let's try another one. If you remember from the completing the square, if it was in this form, we would have to divide everything by 3, which got really messy, because then you had y divided by 3, and that meant at the end of the problem you had to get rid of that fraction. Well, using this method, you don't even have to worry about any of that. You can leave the equation as it is. So what we're going to do again is to find out what the h value is of your vertex. You're going to take the opposite of b divided by 2a. In this case, and notice how I'm always saying it's the opposite of b. I'm not saying negative b. It's the opposite of b. So then that way it's less confusing. So if your number is already negative, like here where our value for b is a negative 12, if we're in the mindset of thinking it's the opposite of b, we know that it would be a positive 12. Divided by 2a, a in this case is 3, well 2 times 3 is 6, And just like that, we have the x value of your vertex to be a positive 2. So now to find the y value of your vertex, or the k, we just put 2 in the equation. So it's going to be 3 times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 15. Well, 2 squared is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. Negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. Then we have plus 15. Well, 12 minus 24 is negative 12. And negative 12 plus 15 gives us 3. And there's the y value of your vertex. If you're asked then to find the line of symmetry, it'd be the equation x equals 2. See how much easier that is, especially if you look back at your notes from the example that we did using completing the square. It took up almost this entire page when we completed the square, but this is much more simple, much quicker to get to that vertex. So I want you to do this one on your own. Y equals 2x squared plus 12x minus 2. I want you to use the method that we're using in this particular video, finding h first and then figure out what k is to find the vertex and then find the line of symmetry. So go ahead and pause the video and hit play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, so let's see what you did. Again, to find out what h is, we take the opposite of b divided by 2a. b in this case is 12, so the opposite of that is a negative 12. A is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And we found the vertex then to be negative 3, or the first part of your vertex to be negative 3. To find the second half of the vertex, or k, we put negative 3 in the equation, so it's going to be 2 times negative 3 squared plus 12 times negative 3 minus 2. Well, negative 3, when you square it, becomes a positive 9 times 2 is 18. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36, and we have minus 2. Well, 18 minus 36 is negative 18, and negative 18 minus 2 is negative 20. And just like that, you found the vertex. So now to find the line of symmetry, it's just the equation x equals negative 3. Well, and just like that, we are finished. That's a much easier method. Hopefully you see that than the previous method. But like I said, I'm not knocking completing the square. It's still a very important method to know how to use or be able to use this in the future. But otherwise, to find the vertex, it's very easy just using that opposite of b divided by 2a. So hopefully you have a better understanding how to find that vertex now. And with that, good luck.